Hey race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. You know what I'm gonna do today? Yeah, I'm gonna go race cross. It's been a long time since I got a chance to do that. I am super stoked. We are going over to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, one of my favorite races. Huge amount of sand, there's trails, there's grass, that's got everything you want, and a flyover. Super stoked, and a huge hill. They have a food truck. I mean, it's awesome. I'm gonna look you in the eyeballs and I'm gonna say, I want you to smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. I also know for a fact that if you subscribe to this channel, you will not get a flat on your tires for the next 2 months. It's proven, science. So, subscribe. All right, let's go race bikes. All right, race fam, made it to the race in Manitowoc. Holy cow, what a turnout. This is amazing. I haven't done this race in 2 years. Well, there wasn't any cross racing last year, so it is banging with people. This is awesome to see. These guys work so hard on this race, and it's such a great event. It's awesome to see this many people. So let's talk real quick about body, bike, and brain. Brain's pretty good. I was practicing the brain part on the way out today with a little positive chit chat in my head, and then bike is good. Thanks to Recyclist Bicycle Company and Kakana for really stepping up and helping me get my bike sorted out. I didn't think it was that bad, but the mechanic there, Zeb, found lots of stuff that was bad and fixed it all, so that's awesome. And body's good. I'm at 170. I'm down about, apparently last time I did this, I was said in the video I was 175, so today I'm 170. And my little experiment with vegetarian lifestyle seems to be paying off. After about 6 weeks, I'm down 4.5, 5 pounds pretty consistently, so that's awesome. Just like the big leagues, huh?
Oh yeah.
Tire choice, racer.
I don't know.
I don't think it's on point though.
Hard to my pole. There it's a really good.
Okay, I got pre-ride in, and I've discovered that wearing tinted glasses is a bad idea on this course, so I switched to my clear glasses. I wish I had rose glasses, but I do not. Heck, it's really dark as soon as you hit the trees, super dark. And that's the only part of the course that's dangerous, so I guess I'll be suffering with some sun for a little bit with the clear glasses, but that's okay. I can see. I felt a lot faster after I could see. So I got to do 2 sections. I think my tire pressure's okay. I think I'm running 28 in the rear and 26 in the front, so we'll see if I stick with that. That's it. Okay. Yeah, I think next time you'll see me, we'll be on the starting line. Boom, and here we are on the starting line. Hey, this is Brian Davis. I race bikes, and you can too. Please subscribe, like, and comment on this video. This is the hole shot. Interesting hole shot. I was not like totally expecting, so I was a little caught off guard, and you can see I didn't even start my camera. So the first half of a lap or so, I forgot to start, or not the camera, but the computer, my Wahoo didn't get started. So it's you know, I'm okay with that hole shot on second row. I'm fine with that. I didn't do a bad job, but I think if I would have been paying attention, maybe I could have gotten 3 or 4 spots up. Now it's interesting in this race, like this, after this first lap or throughout this first lap, I didn't feel like I was totally gassed like I have in years past. So that's awesome. I think that says a lot for my training. I definitely did get, I shouldn't say the whole first lap, but the whole first lap was going really, really well until I got to the big hill, and then I just had a really hard time getting my act together after the big hill. But that's still significantly better than I've been in the past after the first 5 minutes of the race, where I feel like I'm gonna actually die. So happy with my performance here to push myself to get in front of Anderson here. He'll eventually take that spot back, but I was happy with that moment to get up there with the leaders. So now there's, let's see how many people are up here with the leaders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm in 6th wheel. So pretty good spot for me to be. I'm very comfortable with where I'm at. I feel like, I don't know what's going on behind me, but I feel like we're putting on a pretty strong pace, so I'm sure that we're going to be strung out. Everybody's going to be just as tired as I am. I'm putting in work. Now, the point of the channel here is to grow the sport, right? So I want you to be comfortable going out and attending and racing your first cross bike. So let me just talk a little bit about how cross racing works. it's only a lot going on in the first half of a lap, and then after that, things tend to chill out pretty well, and it takes on its own kind of you against the world type of vibe. And I think a lot of people should think about cross as their first foray into bike racing potentially. It's really low stress compared to some other forms of racing. It's a smaller group usually, at least where I live, and it's a much more close-knit group. Everybody's out there to have fun, and nobody takes cross overly seriously, at least at the Masters level where we're at. So I'm doing the Masters 1-2-3 race. I thought about doing the single-speed race ahead of this so I could just get the course to myself for pre-ride time. And then the way to do that is to use the same bike that you have, but you can disconnect your battery if you have electronic shifting, or you can zip tie your shifter together depending on your official's stance on these things, and then you can race your existing geared bike in a single speed event, which is fantastic because that's what we want. We want low barriers to entry, right? So this hill, I cut it out of the rest of the edit, but this thing really is brutal. I approached it trying to like sprint up half of it and then go, and ultimately I found it was much better to go into it with a lower gear and think about spinning up a hill like that. So lesson learned. If you haven't caught on, we're just going to run you through the first lap, and then after that what I'm going to do is a comparison of this turn coming up. So pay attention to this turn. It's a sleeper turn. There's not much to it. It's not technical. It's this one right here. Pretty easy going turn, but I struggled with it. I wouldn't say struggled with it, but I felt like there's a lot of speed that could be had if you could hit that turn without brakes, and I certainly did figure that out later in the race to attend that turn without brakes. And then this one the same way. If you cut that inside into the shrubbery, you could take that without brakes. But again, it took me probably at least halfway through the course to get my legs under me, my technical handling skills. And part of the problem with this first group here is I'm going to lose gaps here because their technical skills are a little bit more polished than I am, at least at this point in the season. So every time that there's something tricky with the turn, I have to put on the gas to close this gap. And ultimately, those little accelerations are going to be what unfolds for me as a problem when we get back to the big hill, because I've expended a little too much effort on closing these little gaps. Now, another thing I'm going to point out is the rider behind me does something really smart. So we're in single tracky area. It's hard to get past me in this section. So what he's doing, or what he was doing prior to this hill and this descent, is coaching me instead of criticizing me. He's building me up instead of asking to get by when it's not a good place to pass and he'd have to expend a ton of watts. He's basically just saying, hey, keep with him, keep with him, keep with him, in a very positive, encouraging way. This turn here, same thing. Really struggled with that one in the beginning of the course, and then later on, I think I figured out how to take that on much better. And those little details make a big difference, right? So if I could have gotten out here for pre-riding the course earlier in the week, that would have been super helpful. Or if I would have attended or gotten to this race much earlier, I could have had more practice laps. But ultimately, those things didn't happen. I only had a few minutes on the race course before I got a chance to jump into racing. And I actually only got a few minutes on the bike in total to get back into cross racing since 2019, before I was on the start line. And a lot of that had to do with the bike not being quite ready, so I had to drop it off at Recyclist Bicycle Company, and they did a great job getting it sorted out. But that's still 24 hours without the bike prior to the race, which is not the end of the world, but it does add up, right? And if anything, it's a mental thing. So we talked about earlier, body, bike, and brain. These lack of practice, lack of miles on the cross bike really affects the brain, probably actually more than anything else. Like, I know I can ride my cross bike, not at a super high level, but I'm pretty reasonable at it. And I know my fitness is pretty good right now. So all the body, good. Weight, good. Body, check, right? Bike, suspect, but now check, because I got it sorted out by the mechanic, so that's good. It's really just the brain was a little bit lacking to force myself to stay with these leaders. And again, I think it's a combination of the handling skills forcing me to have to close these gaps, and a inability for me to I shouldn't say inability, but maybe a little bit of lacking in my belief that I can hang with that lead group. And I know I can, and I think I'll get there. I just got to get one or two races under me to get the intensity down of cross, because that's something that doesn't come through in training or even in crits. It's on and off. It's not just on. So adapting your body to cross from crits is a little bit of a a challenge. So here's Anderson and another rider are going to come up the hill behind. Oh, two other riders are going to come up the hill behind me, and this is ultimately where I'm going to slot in. I think really pretty much for the rest of the race. So I'm kind of end up here in no man's land at the beginning of the race. Already, this is still the first lap, and once these guys get past me, it's pretty much just me, dangling in between these lead groups and the chase group, and it's just me, which is pretty lonely, and it can be motivating. It can be difficult to stay where you push yourself as hard as you need to if you're not in a good spot. So anyway, that's where we're at. So we're gonna finish up the first lap here in a moment. And some of these, the Spinergy wheels that I'm running, I feel really good about those. They're carbon rims. They're super tough. They can take a beating, and I definitely push the rims to their limits at this course. So there's a lot of roots and a lot of tough terrain as you're entering these wooded areas. And just having the confidence in your wheels and equipment that you can bash into stuff. Obviously, you don't want to bash into stuff, but if you do bash into stuff, it's okay. Nothing's going to break. Just smash it in there and turn the bike. And so these turns weren't the end of the world, but I'll give you a little mashup of some other turns that are problematic for me later in the race course, where I'm just bashing into stuff and trusting my equipment, but I'm still not laying into the turns enough to generate speed. So that's potentially a little bit challenging. All right, so we're just finishing up the first lap here. Another thing, this is a big headwind section, so I get into the drops and I bury myself here, not like pushing tons of watts, but trying to be as aerodynamic as possible, and I like that I was thinking about those types of things throughout the race. So right now I'm going to give you a little mashup here of this sleepy turn. So this is going to be, I think, almost all the laps that I ended up doing of this sleepy turn. Let's start that process now. You can just kind of compare and contrast how I come through this. So you want to get right up to that tape, right? You want to rub your elbow up to that tape, hit that barrier, or get your tire within a half an inch of that barrier, so you're taking up as much of the course as possible. That second one was good. Here's the third one. Yeah, not bad. And this one I'm carrying a little bit more speed, I think. It's hard to tell because, the overlay didn't work for me very well. I don't know why, but the data didn't record correctly, so that was problematic. That was a bad one. I was inside on that post quite a bit. That one, same thing. Inside on that post quite a bit. Here's on the last lap, I'm passing my teammate Adam. Gave him a little heads up, I'm coming by, and then it's motivating, when you pass somebody, so you put a little extra watts. All right, so here's a mashup of the bashing turn. So there's huge roots in a descent, and this really tricky turn here with a tree that wants to take you out. so I think I handled that one okay. Again, just trusting the equipment, bash into that stuff, don't care. But you got to lean the bike over, and that's the part where I was kind of struggling on that. Yeah, that was not a good one. Let's see if we do better on this turn. So bash, 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 and I set up on this turn the same line every time, and I probably should have experimented with moving to the left or moving to the right just to see if there was a better way to attack that turn, but I think I stayed the same way every time. Well, here's a little bad language. So speaking of bashing.
Jesus, fuck.
I don't think that was the right line in that section. Oh well, that was fun. All right, here's that's the bashing turn again. I think this was my smoothest one. Did a nice job there, and then tried to shift up a big gear to carry some speed coming down that descent, and try to just carry some speed. The sand section is just past this, and I struggle with the sand section. That's just a symptom of not having enough time on the bike to practice mounting the bike. And that definitely slowed me down. The first two laps were atrocious shouldering, and then after that I got my memory back. So again, anytime you can pass a rider, this is hugely motivating. I get the pass, and then I can find some extra watts and push myself to make sure that I stick the pass. You don't want to give that up. So my chain fell off here, got jammed up in my drivetrain. I'm going to lose a couple spots here. I don't know if these are the pro category that's passing me here or more masters riders, but I think those were both from the pro wave.
Oh, God.
So be it. I think I ended up 8th in the race, which is good. I don't know how many people did it. I'll have to find the results and post a screenshot, but you'll see in the screenshot how I did, and I'm really happy with this race because I left it all out there, right? I don't feel like I got back in the car and was like, oh man, I had more to give. No, I was pretty maxed out, man. This is all I had. So I was able to climb the big hill every single lap, and that was really starting to hurt my triceps, believe it or not. So everything else was sticking together pretty well. Sorry about the screen, I forgot to move that one. And I got $5 for finishing the last lap. If you climb it on your last lap, you get $5 preem. So pretty cool. Here we are in the finish. My front camera GoPro died, and then relying on my back camera here. By the way, I use the Cyclic. I'll have a more detailed video about that coming up this fall. I've had some fits and starts with getting the camera to work correctly, but there's one particular event that I'm very happy to have had this camera. So we'll talk about that in a future video. So again, please do subscribe to the channel, like, comment. If you see me out at a race, say what's up. I appreciate it. It really means a lot to me to realize that people watch the videos. So thanks. Brian Davis Races, and you can too. Remember, no one started out at Cat 1, so go race your bike.
That was hard. Yep. That's fun. Felt good to go real hard. Okay. Rest up. Whew.